Hi, folks. We're, we're going through 60 to 51. Someone take an ice cream break because he thinks he's been very good. Hmm. You know what? You keep eating ice cream. I'm going to go first. And we need to start this off right. So we're going to do that by mentioning another Queen game. All right.
So
So
what
here we
part of this
go.
is doing it right? Say
This is doing it right here. This game has been in my collection for 5 years. It has always been in my top 100. It was number 47, then 49, then 54, then 40 last year. It was the highest it ever been. It drops back down. It lost all that leverage, dropped back down 20 spots to number 60. This is the lowest it's ever been. Don't really know why, but Liguria. Liguria is the unofficial prequel to another game that will be higher on my list later on. But you are collecting, you're moving around some islands, collecting paint cubes to deliver to the Pope. Each time
that's funny.
you are basically doing, yeah, you know what I'm talking about too. So and they did say this is the official prequel to it. It uses some of the same game pieces too. You'll see some of those game pieces right there in that shot. But
Mm.
you're bidding on who goes first. If you go first, you're choosing the least amount of tiles. If you go last, you're getting the most amount of tiles. Tiles are like contracts or extra bonus things that you will put on your player board to increase your movements, your actions, and whatnot. You can play on other people's boards to get victory points at the end of the game. Like, for instance, their success is going to be your success too. Like, if they have a bunch of extra actions, movement actions, if you placed your man there, you're going to get X amount of bonus points for as many tiles they have down there. So, even though they built this big engine, they've also given you more points. There are certain cards in the game that can be plus or minus prestige, as you see right here. Anything that gives you plus prestige is not that good. A wheel means you only get to move once. And 3 cubes means you have to put those on your port. Why is that bad? Because now you've just given more paint cubes out that people can pick up on your port. You may not pick up on your own port. So it basically puts cubes on your port that can help other players. Whereas the other two are really good. It can give you 2 or 3 actions, but they're worth negative points at the end of the game. That little U-turn there lets you turn your boat around 180 and go the opposite direction if you so care to choose. And then the anchor lets you stop in the middle of your and take an action and then keep moving. Usually when you stop, like if the guy who had 2 wheels stopped on one movement, that would be the rest of his turn. He couldn't go again. But if you had an anchor, you can move 2 wheels, stop, take an action, move another wheel, and take that action as well. So, like I said, the better moving cards, and then the little arrows let you upgrade certain tiles on your player board. When you upgrade them, you'll upgrade them and get victory points, or even better, I say even better, but prestige. Prestige is these green points you want. You do want this to balance out, or at least have more prestige than negative points, because you will suffer greatly because you've been using the more powerful cards in the game. The penalty is incredibly steep. I think it's -5 points for any negative point you're behind. So
Wow.
-5 victory points. So in this case, 5, I get -25 points if this was my ending hand. Negative
Yeah.
25 points in the game. Okay, this game go
So
up to
it's like
100 points.
phase 10.
So it's a pretty intense game. The islands are always different. How you play the game. This is a unique setup where they put it in the middle of the islands in the middle of the game board. We don't do that. We put it over to the side, but it is really slick. It's a hard game to conquer because a lot of people don't get contracts a lot, I've noticed, and that is a huge mistake when you don't get contracts because that's victory points. And the thing is, if you do get a lot of contracts, you better make sure you start moving and getting paint cubes. Because if you don't get the paint cubes, those contracts are worth nothing. So I do like a lot of things this game has to give. And this came out after the big game that was built after. But I remember saying to Queen, I think one day, I said, I love all your games. I said, Liguria kind of feels like a prequel to this other game. They said, oh, it is. That's what it is. I was like, oh. So yes, I have played this and another game back to back before. But Liguria, it gets overlooked all the time as a queen game. No one looks at it. It actually does have a lot of gameplay in there. It is a fun one. All right, what is number 60 for you?
That theme is wild. So number 60 is one of the newest games in my collection. It's the newest game on this list. That is going to be Psycho Killer. That is a horror-esque game. Think a horror slasher version of Exploding Kittens. That's essentially what this is. So you have basically these killer cards that you don't want to be the one who has the most killer cards, because you want to essentially be the survivor. So what you end up doing is you have these cards that say you can skip a turn or draw from anywhere else in the deck because you know the next card is going to be the killer. It's such a smart, fun game. It's very fast paced. Again, if you're familiar with Exploding Kittens, you're going to understand like how the game itself plays. Obviously, it's still relatively different. The aesthetic looks amazing. It's in a VHS tape looking box. Of course, I'm going to look into it. The artwork is really clean, well put together. You have a bunch of little cassette tape, by the way, expansions, which are really sick. And they add a lot to the game as well. A lot of different elements. One of them being a drinking game, if that's what you're into. Always like to bring that up for the people that are interested. But it surprised me. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. When I started to read it, I was like, this is very similar. Not exactly, but very similar to Exploding Kittens. And I was like, I might actually like this because I love Exploding Kittens. It's not on my list, but it's what brought me into the hobby. So I got to show love for it.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. No, it looks interesting. Looks interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Very surprising.
You just reminded me of something there I wanted to look into. Reminds me of another game.
An old one that you hated?
I hated that. You're the Maniac.
Yep.
Yeah, what a terrible game. What a terrible game.
I watched your review because I was like, oh, this looks great. And then I found out you did a review. I was like, oh, God.
It's the game Guillotine done worse. It's just such a terrible game. And, I mean, like I said, it looked good. I like the idea of it. But, yeah, just garbage.
This reminded me of it. And I was like, oh, God, is this going to be a dud? It was not.
Well, I'm glad because that one was just a cash grab. There was nothing redeeming about that game. You're the Maniac, you know. I'm glad I was able to get rid of that one when I did. Total waste of time. Anyway, all right, my number 59. My number 59 has been in my collection for 5 years. For those first 2 years, it was ranked very high, number 21 and then number 16. It was in my top 20 for a while. Really loved it. Then it dropped to number 57, went back up to 38 last year, and then dropped back down almost exactly to where it was, 21 spots at number 59 2 years ago. So it just kind of seesaws on my list, and that is Pay Dirt.
I want this game. I do.
Yes,
made me want this game as well.
Yes, you do. Pay Dirt is, and I guess I'm mentioning a lot of bidding games here, I'm realizing, but you are bidding. And you're bidding for 3 types of things. You're bidding for workers, you're bidding for equipment, and you're bidding for land. And here's your own player board, I think. Yeah, and as your player, you have to put meeples in there to push these tiles, shift this soil, shift through the soil to get gold out of it. Use that gold to buy more stuff. You cash that gold in for money, but you also want to keep the gold because whoever has the most gold at the end wins. Different gear in the game can help you out, either make things go faster or be way more durable. There are these terrible cards, degree cards, that lower the temperature. Once the temperature gets to 0, the game's over, because I kind of like that. And this is one that a few people complain about. I know, what's his name? Tom from the Dice Tower really hated this because it seemed like a little got you. Or, you know, just very vindictive, like beat up on the leader. And I was like, no, I don't think it's that at all. Because the person who picks last out of all these terrible cards you have to pick from, the key is picking something that doesn't impact you. Like, oh, you get -$1 for every gold you cash in this round. Well, I don't plan on cashing any gold in the next round, so I'll take it. That doesn't impact you, but it may impact another player. And so you're trying to leave the player with the worst card imaginable. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it backfires against you. Sometimes you're like, well, I need to take this one because this one doesn't impact me. But you just gave a card. You just took away a card that would have impacted the other player really bad. But you took it because it won't impact you hardly as much. So I've seen that happen. And then whoever holds that last card, whatever the degrees are on it, that's how far down the temperature goes. Here's like little worker cards you can get to add workers to your area. This game comes with several expansions in it. And all the expansions are just extra stuff. There are many expansions, extra equipment usually, and land. And it's great. Do not just focus on equipment. Don't just focus on people. I did that and I lost this game poorly because I could not get land. I ran out of all my generic land and could not win bids for more. And so I couldn't shift through anything. I was like, oh, I can't forget. I got to get those land tiles. Where someone was trying to grab up all the great land tiles, but he just didn't have the manpower to process them all. This game's beautiful. Really well done. The box is one of the, I think you could run over this with a car and it would stay. It's so thick. That cardboard is so thick. It's one of the toughest boxes I've ever seen. I think this is the only game. What is their name? I have that game somewhere around here. It is Crash Games. Yeah. I think that may have been one of the only games they brought out. I don't know. But I think that guy's from Arizona. I think he's from Phoenix because I heard he was at the Arizona Gaming Con when I was there, and I tried to meet him. I just couldn't figure out who he was. But I love Pay Dirt. Pay Dirt's a great game. It'll probably always be my top 100. All right. What about you? You got a number 59 there?
Yeah, I do. That is going to be Dwellings of Eldervale. Yeah, this one is going to jump real high real quick. The only issue is right now I'm only playing it solo. I haven't played it with individuals yet. The solo for this, crazy. So I've played a very handful of games solo. There's some I really don't like Ghost Stories is freaking ridiculous. Trying to beat that game is just absurd, especially by yourself. But the mechanisms on this for worker placement are mind-blowing. Believe the hype. When I first saw it, I thought it was another one of those really ridiculously big miniatures.
Yeah.
Board games, and everything about this is gorgeous. And of course, I have the deluxeified version where you got these bases that have sounds when you move the monsters. One of my favorite parts of it. Each sound box has 2 different sounds, but it's such a smart game. The fact that you have all of these different kind of character elements in the game that all work way different, and I can only imagine how it will play with more people. I'm very much enjoying it solo. I played it a few times solo and I like it. I think it will only get better with more people in it. So I'm very excited to get it to the table. Everything about it in terms of how compact it is, as you see in those pictures that he's showing, it all comes well put together in trays, not only for your individual selves where you have everything nice and organized, but for the overall gameplay. It all is easy to lay out. Obviously, when you play a lot, putting it away can be a little bit of a pain, but only because it's setting it up for a fast play time. You know what I mean? Like you're just sifting through and reorganizing it. So it's always ready to go right out of the box. There's a lot, like you can see those color discs there. Those are the sound boxes that go under the miniatures.
Yeah, you have the sound boxes too. They make a sound. They patent that too. You told me.
Yup, they did. Freaking geniuses. I could say a bunch about it. I recommend looking at some of the reviews if just looking at it looks like something you're interested in. I was sold just by the sound boxes straight up. I ain't even gonna lie. Like the sound boxes was just like, if it's even bad, I'm happy I have sound boxes on monsters. That's all. It's a little too expensive to be playing that kind of game, but I got a really good deal on it. And again, I'm so glad I have it in my collection. I almost hate that there's going to be individuals that will see this game later and may not get the opportunity to get that deluxified version. I hope they continue to print these more.
They'll reprint it, surely.
I'm really hoping they do that. And expansion wise, there's so much replayability there. They don't need to do anything more. They could, but they don't need to do anything more. It has so much. The box is huge in itself. I was very surprised. That is one of the games I didn't get to tell you I played. It's a newer one, but I've been playing it solo, and it's a blast. A worker placement, like, is great. Like, oh, so good.
Yeah, I do love worker placement. I've heard you talk about this game, and I'm going to be honest with you. I thought this was a top 10 game for you. The
I
way
think it
you
will.
talk about it, I had this as one of your top 10. I did not know. I get why you ranked it low, but I thought for sure this would be your top 10. I thought I knew it.
I've only played it a handful of times and only solo. I
Okay.
know when I get it to the table with people, it's going to go high. I can see it being a top 10, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I can too, because the way you just glow about it. When they were making noise, I remember you got in, you were showing me how it made noise. You're going the whole time.
It's so crazy.
All right, my number 58, been in my collection for 3 years. This is the lowest it's ever been. It was number 34 when it first premiered, went to number 18. It was when it was a top 20 game last year. I don't know why it's dropped 40 spots here on my list. Well, I do. I think I do know. I think I do know. I didn't play it that much this year. I didn't play it that much. Coimbra. Great game. Lots of things you can do in Coimbra. You are dice selecting, and then from the dice, you're taking certain actions. Trying to get to the board here, where you'll be traveling around the board, getting a little in-game bonus quest. You'll be also trying to get first player, but going up those 4 different tracks to get more guards, more men, more victory points, more money, or whatnot, or more travel actions. The game plays really smooth. It is easy to learn. It's just got a lot of strategy going for it. When I first got, I was like, is this going to be a little too complicated? No, it's very straightforward and so much fun. I used to play this a lot more than I have lately, which is why it moved down. I didn't get to play it as much as I usually do. I got the little mini expansion, which is called the Royal Treatment. It's not that good. I think it was just something added special as a bonus in the game. It's not that good. We play with it because it's not that much. Just some halvesy dice and the thing about the bales that give you extra victory points into the game. So it doesn't add that much to the game. Oh, it's supposed to give you a dice. It's supposed to double into a dice tray, which we never will use.
Is it a table hog? Is that as big as it looks?
I mean, it looks like it's not that big of a table hog, to be honest. It's just a regular board with 4 cards drift out to the side. That's where you're going to be drafting cards by your dice. Okay. And the lowest die there is going to get the to go first, or the highest die. I can't remember exactly how that goes. It reverses at the top row. But see, that's the thing. I haven't played it that much. So that's part why it dropped a little bit, or a lot of bit on my game in my top 100. But it is a nice game. I always love it to come out. You're locking these die in these like little castle die holders, and the color of your die matters too, because that's another way to get points too, or go up some of these tracks. I like this. A lot of levels. What's it called? Rows within rows of the game tray is beautiful. So anyway, but yeah, I love Coimbra. It's a good one. The other one, no, what's it called? Alma Mater is a fun game too, but as a lot of people know, have seen my top outside the 100 already. It didn't make my top 100. Coimbra is going to be in there for a while, I believe. All right, so what is number 58 for you, sir?
Number 58 is going to be Ghost Stories.
Ooh, this is a popular one.
It is what people classify as one of the hardest cooperative games, one of the There's one that's like really known as being ridiculous, but this one is a very difficult game. I'm not the biggest fan of cooperative games. I don't have very many of them, but this one is very hard. Like, the game really beats you up. And I've seen the Deluxified stuff, and I desire that one day, but I don't play it nearly enough. But it looks great. But essentially, you have your own kind of monk sorcerer who has abilities to claim different. It has like what I like about Istanbul plus a little bit, because the tiles they end up going to have abilities and different things that you can do. But while you're doing that, you're also having to worry about the shadow creatures, which can affect the game and completely end the game. So they'll start popping up, like those guys, they'll start popping up on the board, and you kind of have to fight them off before they start taking out tiles of the game and eventually creating the end game scenario where you're breaking through to exorcise these ghosts and fight the boss monster, which every single time, like it's so insane. Like, it's so difficult. You actually feel like you worked hard when you beat it. And one of the few things that I like about it, because again, I don't know the name of the one people say is like the hardest cooperative game, but at least the creators of this one have a high percentage, according to some of the research I've done on the game, of winning the game. So there's definitely a method to the madness. It's just very difficult to get it down. But I like it. Haven't played a very large player count for it. I think 2 is the most. I've played it solo a number of times. It sucks solo because I suck at it, but I enjoy it still. The art design's great, and I love horror, so heck yeah.
No, I do love co-op games. This is a very popular one. I see a lot of people put this on their top 100s in the past. But for me, it's hard. Well, it's been hard in the past. I got kind of a new gaming group now, but it's been hard in the past to get them to play co-op games. But hey, so right now I'm kind of cool. I've cooled off on a lot of co-ops, but I always enjoy a good co-op. Folks, my number 57, been in my collection for 5 years. It's always been, it started off as number 57, oddly enough. So it's back where it came from. It went to 59 to 64. 35 was the highest it got last year, but then it dropped back down to where it began. So 22 spots here. And you know what? Wouldn't it be, folks? It's time. It's time for another Queen Games. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Via Appia. Via Appia, you are building the road to Rome. And there is a neat little mechanic here. It basically pushes.
Oh, I've seen this one.
This is it. Yeah. You push just like on those little quarter drop machines at the arcade. You put a quarter in, and the pusher pushes them all the way to the edge, and you're hoping they'll fall over. Well, you're putting little stones here, pushing them off as you collect them. And when they fall off, you're collecting that type of crushed stone. And with that crushed stone, let me see, where is it? With the crushed stone, here it is, you are building the road to Rome. And you need certain stone to build your next road, depending on where you're starting on. You may need medium, small, or large. You have a cart that's located over to the left. You can't hog that much crushed stone. You can only hold X amount because your cart's very tiny. It can only hold a few crushed stone. You're trying to get money to travel along these roads. And so there's a lot of things you're doing. You're collecting stone and then using that stone to crush it. And then, or you're using that crushed stone to lay it down a path, or you're using money to travel along that path. And whoever crushes the most stone on the 3 different areas will get victory points at the end of the game. Of course, getting to each little city as it's going to will give you extra bonus points in the game as well. It's been a while since I've won this game. I'm not very good at it now. I used to win a lot, but everyone else has gotten really good at balancing out how the flow of this game, and it is so much fun. So much fun. I don't think this is in print now, but it is. Shouldn't be that hard to get, and it is. It's a pretty good one.
Has that one. I like that mechanism, that push mechanism. I've not seen that before.
No. That has something that you would like there, something unique there. So yeah, Via Appia, my number 57.
Man,
Were there any? Bringing it with the Queen Games is what I am today.
Were there any Queen games that didn't make your top 100?
In my collection? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Lancaster behind me, it didn't make it.
Really?
No, it didn't this year. Kind of shocking. Well, I had a bad experience. My nephews were being stinkers and they wouldn't vote on a new law. And so we didn't get any victory points hardly in the game because they thought at the first 2 rounds we didn't vote for new laws. And I made a joke because it wouldn't it be funny if we went the whole game without voting in a new law? Shouldn't have said that because all they did was vote no on everything, thinking it was hilarious. It ruined the game for me. I was pissed. But I mean, hey, they were doing it. They thought it was funny. It is funny to piss off your uncle. They had a lot of fun, I'll tell you that. But so what's your number 57, sir?
Number 57, we're bringing it back to the party game, Cash and Guns.
A lot of people love this one.
I saw what it was and I was like, wow, I knew I would like it just by looking at it. So you are all jewel thieves, right? And one person is going to be the kingpin. And you're trying to basically rob either jewels, take money, or you get these really expensive paintings. However, you don't really want to share. So you can only split it X amount of ways. So that involves eliminating people and putting fear into their eyes. So you got these little kind of bullet cards, which some of them can be clicks, some can be bullets, whether or not you're going to be actually killing someone. And then when the game begins, depending on your abilities, will depend if you do things beforehand. But you all point your guns at the person you want, and you basically argue with them, and you decide whether or not you can trust whether or not they're going to actually shoot you. If they shoot you, you get a wound, and you're out for that round. If you're brave enough to stay in and you trust them, it's a click, then you get to also collect this money. However, sometimes you can't really afford to stay in because you could get eliminated if you take another wound. So you just take out anyway. So there's a lot of back and forth. If you're the kingpin, you get the opportunity to move someone else's gun pointed towards someone else. It's so funny. The arguments are great. Just shouting and yelling at each other with these foam guns is just absolutely hilarious. I love it. My friends get way too much of a kick out of it, and it's a good time. It's a really good time. I really love this game.
I love how most of these pictures are just so much fun. People just pointing guns at each other. That's great. I love that. I need to play this game, even though it is a party game. It does seem like it would be a lot of fun.
You'd be surprised.
All right. Well, now, folks, it is time. It's been a while since I've talked about a new game that entered my collection that made my top 100 this year. This game I was a little late in the game getting. I regretted it. I bought it later and I've loved it ever since. And let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to pull it up here. Well, all these are painted figures. These figures are going to look really awesome painted. I don't have mine painted, but maybe I can bribe Bernardo into painting my entire Kickstarter set of Marvel United.
Oh, Lord.
All these pictures I'm looking through are all here. They're all painted, which they look beautiful painted, but they're not. I'll try to find some regular ones. But all it is people showcasing painted, which I would too. I mean, that's kind of a normal one. That's what they look like. But then look at it painted. Yeah. And I hear these things are a dream to paint too. Like people say
they're like beginner thing. It's like the chibi characters I have from my slasher game.
Chibi, that's what they are. I couldn't remember the name.
It's a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to paint. But like you also it's easy to mess up. Like if you mess up, it's real noticeable. But it's really easy, honestly. Those look very simple to paint.
Yeah, and the game is really fun. You have a different villain each time. You have different heroes you can play as. Yes, sure, they have the same emblems, but they have different superhero abilities, and you want to use them to the best of your ability. I had the Kickstarter edition. We played through this 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 times, 6 times maybe. And we played a lot on it. I've cooled on it a little bit toward the end of the year, but Bernardo knows I was playing this game 9-0. My wife played a little bit with me. My nephews loved the game. We played it, trying to figure out how to beat certain people. Certain enemies are really hard, especially if the Kickstarter edition. One of the hardest ones, in my opinion, is Green Goblin. If not, Thanos is the hardest by far, but Green Goblin is really friggin' hard and really hard to beat him. But the game is so much fun. Yes, I did drink the Kool-Aid and go all in on X-Men United. I don't know why Bernardo didn't. Maybe he wanted to save himself $500. I don't know. But yeah, this is really a fun game and a great game. And I can't wait for X-Men United to come out. Because Marvel United, great. I mean, back when I was playing this may even be a top 20 game for me, just because I was so enamored with it. But I have cooled down on it, haven't played it as much, so dropped it down to 56. All right, so hey, speaking of 56, what's your number 56?
56 is going to be Deranged. That is a horror board game.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So the artwork is phenomenal. That was the real selling point for me. I actually got to play it at PAX Unplugged. Or it might have been Gen Con. Yeah, it was Gen Con that I first saw. Gen Con 2019. Where they were showcasing it. However, they didn't have a way to get it over to the States. Something about getting it over from Russia, I think. Long story short, fast forward, it's now available in the US. Thank God. The art is amazing. The concept of it is that this deranged is taking over the town, and there's scenarios that you can play. And at first I was like, I don't like the idea of different scenarios, but due to all the different combinations of cards and things that you can draw in the game, the replayability factor on this is amazing. No two games will be that similar, if at all. But
it has a nice comic book feel.
It is just so pretty, so nicely painted. Yeah. It reminds me of like Sin City, Spirit, those like harsh blacks.
Yeah,
it's really nice. It's a really great game. That's really the most I can say about it. I've played it a few times already. I can see it moving up a little bit more potentially. I still got to paint the figures because they gonna look nice.
You mean after you paint my Marvel United figures?
Yeah, after you paint your Marvel United figures.
Oh man, no, I like the artwork here. I love how you are big. I'm noticing this now. I don't know why I didn't notice this before. You are big in these horror games. So yeah. I'm kind of rethinking what you may have in your top 100, because I think there's a few. I don't think we've seen the last of horror games, if I'm not mistaken. I know what one of yours is for sure. It's in your top 10. I know it is, but I didn't realize you had this many horror games that you love. I mean, that's fine. That's great. Is your gaming group into this?
They like it, yes. I haven't played with a whole lot of them. I think the most I played the game with is 3. But so far they like it.
Oh, okay. All right, good deal. My number 55, folks, has been in my collection for 3 years now. It was 84 and 81. This year it jumps 26 spots up to number 55. And I think it's a deck builder. I think you would call it that. Or maybe engine building. I don't know. But St. Petersburg. Woo! St. Petersburg, an older game. It probably does need a reprint because I don't know how much the second edition goes for. I do have the second edition. I had like a German version, though. So I had to get the English rules to understand a lot of it. But in this game, you're basically going around purchasing cards. There's the little wooden bits that go to it. But you're purchasing there it is, these cards here. Yeah, these are kind of, oh no, the newer versions at the top, the older version, that's just showing you what the old and new versions look like. But you're getting these cards. Certain cards like workers will give you money. Buildings will give you victory points. There's a stock market you can play with that can also give you points in money. There's nobles who can get you a little bit of both victory points, and then upgrades that you're not bidding on but trying to get that can upgrade your buildings or your workers or your nobles or whatnot. And the thing I like about this is around this track here, I'm glad I got to this picture here. Around this track are certain goals. You see these tiles kind of put off to the side of the board, outside the board there on certain areas. You have to achieve that goal before you can move past that score tracker. And it's wonderful because someone who has the lead may not look at that, what their next goal is, or think they have it and don't, and then they're stuck at like 20 points or 30 points while you're all passing them by. They're trying to hurry up and achieve this goal so they can start. Any victory points they get are wasted until they achieve those goals. And that is a wonderful, I've never seen that before. So it really forces you to work. And like I said, you switch up these tiles every time. So the goals will be different. There's way more goals than what are indicated on the board that are needed in the game. This game just really impresses me. I'm not a game that relies just on cards, and for the longest I passed it up, but because so many people suggested, I said, well, let me check it out and see. And I did. And it's always been lower in my top 100, but this year almost made my top 50 because it's just that good of a game. St. Petersburg.
I've not heard of that one.
All right. Well, it's a good one. Number 55 for you, sir.
55?
What horror one do we have this time?
Oh, this one's scary. Especially COVID. Splash Party. I'm excited. I like this game. You have this game.
I do.
It is one I saw off of a forum that I'm a part of. I haven't been posting a lot lately, but There Will Be Games. A gentleman posted about it, and man, was I impressed by it. It's so simple. It's this small tin where you have these meeples with stickers on them because they're having fun at the pool, and they have a number between 1 and 3, and you can pick up any meeple you want, lift it up, and you move it that number of spaces. If it lands on a space where someone else is, you kick them into the pool. You secretly have a token that basically says what character you have or what character you need to be alive at the end of the game, and you're trying your hardest to eliminate everyone else and be the last one standing. It's so much more fun than I thought it would be. I've actually been testing around with having 2 characters selected when you don't play with a whole lot of people. That way your odds are a little bit more interesting, and it adds a different dynamic to the game since you can control 2 halves of the board. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. I like it.
This is a very small game. It is not a table hog. It's not going to be a shelf hog. It can easily fit within anything on your shelf. That's one reason I loved it. I remember the moment you reviewed this, I went out and found a copy. I was like, wow, because I like the unique theme of it. And you're right. It is a quick little game. It's not hard to get. It's not hard to get a hold of. And it's funny because you've done this before as a kid. You're lying if you haven't. Pushing people in a pool. Yeah, you did that. Of course you did. It was so much fun.
And this one's kind of fun too. Pushed in a pool.
Say what?
I said if you didn't, then you were getting pushed in a pool.
If you didn't, then you were getting. It was bully or be bullied. That's right. Yeah, but it was that's a lot of fun. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a fun little game. My number 54 has been around in my collection for 3 years now. It was 48, then number 45, and it kind of dropped 9 spots. Not too bad. Basically in the same spot. 54. Rest in peace, TMG. Because you came out with you made an expansion for this that you said is stuck overseas. You don't have any money to ship it over anymore. So all those Kickstarter backers got screwed. I hate it. But Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. What an amazing game. What an amazing game. It uses a rondelle, but at the rondelle is also like a Macala board. So like if I wanted to take that action at the very bottom, I'd take up both of those spheres and place, go around like in clockwise order, place one in each one of the other 2 petals. By the way,
cool.
Yeah, by the way, those petals are double-sided. You can upgrade them to have not one action, but 2 actions. As you see, half of these tiles that have 2 little circles on the sides here and here and up at the front here and here, those have been upgraded. meaning giving you more than just one choice when you take that action. You can take either or. Of course, the pieces are nice wooden bits. Planting castles, churches, barns, and senate buildings or whatnot can give you more, make your army more powerful, make your moves more powerful. You even have a little player card at the top left of your board that can give you extra special abilities. Here's some of the wooden bits for it that are really nice. They look just like that.
Very nice.
That is not what they look like. That must be
that's what they should look like.
that must be the special. That must be a special edition there. I don't have that either. That's special edition money. I have the cardboard type. But the game is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's the special edition there. It's got to be. That's all special edition stuff. All that is. Man, I don't have that. I just
this is what you need.
It is. I have the wooden bits one, which is really nice as is. And you're also, as you're conquering through the land, you're defeating the infidels, you're planting things for points, moving your men out, spreading wise, and you keep going until all the victory points have been gobbled up. Again, special edition.
Jesus. Ooh.
Yeah. A lot of deluxe editions in here.
Yeah, why are you doing this? See, this is why it's 54. You don't got that to look for.
I know, I'm telling you. But I really do think this game is incredible. We played an incredible game because one movement, instead of doing anything, you can just upgrade one of your rondelle pedals. But if you do that, it's almost like you're skipping your turn because other people can move and do something. But for one time I upgraded, then everyone around the room upgraded too in the same round. So then I upgraded again, and then everyone upgraded again. I was like, are we all going to upgrade our boards? I said, if you want to flip, they said, well, no, let's not do that yet. And so we all upgraded except for one person. He ran for it, tried to get that head start. And then we all stopped and started running for it. But it is a really good game. It's a shame. It was supposed to come out with a, let's see, I can't remember what it's called, but it was supposed to come out with an expansion. Crusaders, They Will Be Done. Hold on, let's see if it'll just go thing. It's supposed to come out with an expansion that never came out. Yep, there it is. Yeah, Divine Influence 2021. Good luck coming out. That'll never come out.
They're no longer a company too, right?
Well, they kind of are, but they're kind of bankrupt as a company too, so yeah, that doesn't look like it has anything new on it, but it was supposed to get some stuff on it. I missed the Kickstarter. I definitely would have gotten it, and I'm glad I didn't because now everyone's kind of screwed because they're not going to get that. And it's sad too. It's sad what happened to TMG. TMG came out some great games. There's a lot of games on my list here, and Crusaders They Will Be Done is still a great game. You should get it. I mean, you're obviously looking at the deluxeified version there, but for me, it doesn't matter. The regular version that I have is really boss.
No, it looks like a fun. I like the Mancala idea.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. All right, number 54 for you.
54 is Snowman Dice. Yes, I'm a simple kind of man.
I knew this would be on your list. I knew this would be on your list,
but I didn't this time. But yes, Snowmen Dice. It is a simple dice game, but it's a fast-paced, real-time game that I love around the holiday time, Christmas. I always play it around this time. Essentially, you have your dice and you're rolling to try to stack your snowman. You got the bottom half, the middle half, and the head. And you can also have wild parts. And once you have your snowman built, you have to roll arrows. So you can push it to the center of the North Pole. First person to do that wins. Sounds easier said than done. However, there's also a snowball side where you can flick the snowball and knock down their snowman before they get to the North Pole. It is a blast. Super silly. But it is a very frantic game, and it pairs well with another game you may see on this list.
Yeah, you like Snowman. I need to play Snowman Dice. It seems like a fun little filler game here. I knew it would be on your list, though. I knew it would be.
I bought 2 copies just so I can play with 8 people. I love it. It's cheap. It's a little cute zipper thing it comes in. I like it.
Wow. Well, speaking of filler games, my next game, it could be considered. I guess it is a. No, I guess you could say it is a filler game because it's very light. I'll say that. Kind of like Snowman Dice. Kind of like Snowman Dice. This game is very light. It has been in my collection for 4 years. It started off at number 78, then moved to 69. Last year, it shot up to 37. And now it kind of fell back down 16 spots because I'm not playing as much, but I still love it. Desperados of Dice Town.
I've not heard of that. What
This is
the
a game. It's the prequel to Dice Town, a game I love, but is no longer in my top 10 anymore. I mean, my top 100 anymore. But Desperados of Dice Town is a like prequel version of the game. It says, but it's really different. You have these little coasters, and you're rolling dice, kind of like Yahtzee. You're
Oh,
rolling it 3 times, up to 3 times, and you're turning these little coasters as many times you have the symbols and these bang symbols. And once you get them to 0, then you can flip them over. Your goal is to flip over all of your people, like that lady at the bottom, she's flipped over. And once you flip over, if you use bangs on her, she's going to take money away from other players. Because at the end of the game, and those cardboard poker chips, which are really nice, is the money you have in the game. And so you're supposed to have all your desperados unlocked and have the most money, though. So if someone's about to win, you just start shooting them and start having them lose money so that if they do unlock everything, they're still not winning until they have the most money out of everyone. It's a little box game like Snowman Dice, and it is so much fun to play. I must have played this 3 or 4 times at the Arizona Gaming Convention. I just played it because I heard it was a connected to Dice Town, a game I loved back in the day. I said, well, it doesn't look that good, but let me try it out. And I was like, oh, this game's awesome. And I couldn't put it down. So,
I love the concept a lot.
oh yeah, Desperados of Dice Town, my number 53. Hey, what's your number 53?
53
53.
gonna be Roll for Your Life Candyman. Yeah, this one comes before
Run for Your Life.
Roll for Your Life Candyman.
Roll for Your Life Candyman.
Yeah, it's the one I pair with Snowman Dice typically. I decided to split it. This one I got first before Snowman, which is why it has a special place in my heart because it made me appreciate real-time games. I was at a convention and they were like, you want to play this game? I was like, sure. So the goal is you have your gingerbread man and you are trying to roll a combination of pairs of a body part of a snowman. When you, let's say it's foot, and you roll all the feet, you would say sweets and you'd grab a little candy can on the side of the table and then you get to take that limb off of another player of your choice. You can also roll kind of those mystery things to take one of those protection tokens that can go over top of your guy that can protect you from getting hurt. So they have to remove that first before they can remove a body part. There's just a lot of cutthroatness. It's, again, a real-time game, so you're constantly rolling it, trying to get that combination you need to eliminate the other players and be the last Candyman standing. I also have 2 copies of this, so I can play with 8 players or at least more than 4. Much like Snowman Dice, it pairs perfectly with it. The dice kind of vibe is very similar. The designs are really similar. I think the sizes are a bit off, but they pair really well together playing them. I very much love this game.
I've seen this one. You're the one that reviewed this one, I remember, and I saw it. I thought it was funny. It's a I need to play this game. All right, so good deal. Let me get mine started here. Oh wait, I misspelled it. There it is.
We got another Queen game. Looks like there's a trend.
No, not another Queen game. We're saving those for later. We've already mentioned 2 so far, so I'm good on Queen games right now. I'm ready to name another one. My number 52. Well, been in my collection for 4 years. Started off at number 55, then went up to 59. Last year it surged up 31 spots, but now it's back down to normal. Went down 21, back to 52. This is a game that I was dead wrong about when it came out. I said that game looks like garbage, and then I got it, and I was like, Sagrada is wonderful. It's a wonderful game. Every expansion to Sagrada makes the game better too. I play with all the. I can't believe that each expansion doesn't make the game feel more meticulous. It's just such a great game. You're basically building. You're using these translucent dice and putting them on the board like this, and then you're trying to match. Well, not match them. There are certain bonuses you can get if you get certain colors or whatnot. I'm trying to figure out where's a stained. Okay, so there's stained glass, and so you're trying to put them down there, but they can never be this. You can't have two colors next to each other or two of the same number, and that's where it gets interesting.
Like Sudoku.
A little bit hard in a way, like Sudoku, except you can't have the same colors either. And every expansion adds something. It adds more to the game, of course, but then more of the same, but then adds something a little bit different. And each one is great. And you wouldn't think a game that just uses cheap translucent dice would be that fun. It is. I remember kind of holding my nose up at it when I heard about this game. I was like, yeah, that's kind of a dumb game. There's not much to that. And someone asked, it was all the rage when it came out. Someone said, do you want to play this one? Not really, but I will. And I did. And I was like, oh, I'm buying a copy. And it's hard to get all those window paint. Now, the expansion can help you out a little bit more, which is why people love it, I think, because the chances of you finishing your stained glass window increase because there's more ways you can maybe switch die around or remove die or whatnot. And but Sagrada was something I swore I'd never love, and I was wrong. I loved it.
It makes everyone look like a photographer on Instagram along with the Zool. But
yeah,
it looks nice. I'll play it. I don't know if it's the kind of game I would own, but it would be a cool one to play.
No, it would. It for me. It's great, and I love it. I do say get it with all the expansions because, well, I mean, you don't have to, but if you do, there's no expansion that's like meh. I've never come across one yet. All right. What's number 52 for you?
52 is going to be my favorite Carcassonne game, Gold Rush. Carcassonne Gold Rush. This one is, I was kind of like interested in trying different themes for Carcassonne, and I found this one based off of the reviews and just kind of understanding how it plays. It being the best version of Carcassonne, and it's the highest one I have. It's just similar to regular Carcassonne. However, you get to kind of almost settle in certain areas where you're mining for gold. So you can set up your little tents to mine for gold and collect the gold that is kind of showing up on the board. So certain tiles will have different gold chips that'll show that are worth different points. And you essentially kind of want to set up your camp on those so you can start collecting each round. It is a lot of fun. It really adds a lot of dynamic to the original game if you're familiar with it. That's a little bit more, in my eyes, stale. This definitely adds a lot of variables that make the strategy element feel like it matters as opposed to how lucky it is that you draw the tile and place it in the correct spot. So it's a really solid game. If you're interested in Carcassonne or you like Carcassonne, I recommend if you're looking for like that next one. This one I definitely recommend looking into. I believe it's out of print, so it may be a little bit tricky to find.
Really?
It doesn't go for too much. But yeah, from what I've seen, I haven't seen any reprints on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. There's a lot that get reprints that are a little questionable to me, but that's one that solid.
Wow. Well, cool. Like I said, again, I never played Carcassonne, but it looks really neat. I need to try it out. Need to try a version. My number 51, been in my collection for 3 years, was number 23 when it first came out. Cult of the New, man. I just loved it. It dropped a big time last year, number 72. This year it moves up 21 spots, just outside my top 50. I'll be honest, this hurt my feelings that it didn't make it into my top 150. I'm a history major. This is based deeply off history. I'm very impressed how historically accurate it was. They read through the journals of these explorers, and all the cards are people who they encountered on their journeys. Who am I talking about? the infamous Lewis and Clark.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ooh, there is a lot going on with this because look at this game. And I have the extra bits, and this is one of the few games where I have sleeved my cards. I do not sleeve cards because I just don't believe in that. I mean, if it gets wear and tear, oh well. I just don't want to buy sleeves for all my games. But this one, I was like, I'm
That's fair.
sleeving these because it's so much fun. You got these Indians who work as worker placement on the board that can give you different things, but you also have to collect those too. You have a limited amount of items that you can carry with you. However, you want to barely make it up the river. You want to utilize all or most of the supplies because any extra supplies you have over your allowed amount, which is very small, will move you. It'll weigh you and move you back down the river a few steps. So this is all about moving forward a little bit, moving backward a few steps, and then setting up camp there. Moving up again, then sliding down, then if you ever go below your original camp, you just go back to that your base point. So you can never go backwards completely on a turn. You'll always end up where you started. But it's a game of going back and forth. Sometimes you're going up the river, then eventually you're going up the mountains, and so instead of canoes, you'll need horses to go up there. And of course, you're trying to be the first one to reach the fort at the end of the game. Oh, man, oh, what a great game. The artwork's beautiful. Oh, when you have these cards in hand, you're trying not to have any extra cards too. It's all about, you can't hoard. This game penalizes you big time for hoarding supplies, and I love that. You want to get rid of everything, even the cards in your hand. You don't want to have anything extra. You flip a card over, and however many printed Indians are on the back, that's how many times you get to use that action, or if you can even power that card. Certain cards need 2 Indian symbols to power it. So and you can't use 2 cards to power 1 card. You have to use 1 card. You're buying extra cards, so it's like a deck builder too. You're trying to get bigger actions and get rid of some of your weaker cards in the game. And you keep having to get different specialists depending on what you need. Like at first, you need canoes. Then eventually, you need to get horses. So you need to get people who help you get horses to make it through the mountains. So you get rid of your canoe people real quick, only to grab a few back later on because you got to hop back in your canoe after you make it through the mountains. I can't explain it. The game just sings for me. And the first time we ever played it, I loved it. There is some analysis paralysis about it. It's not as bad as it has been in the past, but that is probably why it didn't quite make it into my top 50 because it does. People with AP are going to have a little problem with this just because there are a lot of choices, to be fair. So it's a very thinky game because you're also looking to see what other players to your left and right played on you because you can play cards that can impact you to get more supplies on a single play. What a great game. And as a history major, I think it's all the character cards are people they encountered.
I thought it was going to be something else. I guess I'll wait and see.
You'll have to wait and see what my top 50 will have. But hey, which game do you not love enough to put in your top 50?
Yeah, that was a tricky one. But this is going to be Flying Goblins.
Flying Goblins?
Yeah, but fly in, so no G.
Oh, okay.
It's like fly in and then an apostrophe at the end if it's being picky.
Gotcha. All right, so
Flying,
what is Flying Goblins?
Yep, it's by Yellow. It is a dexterity game, but there's some strategy with it as well. Essentially, you have the bottom part of the board has sections set out where some of them have jewels, certain point systems, and there's some that can kind of affect you. So you have your goblins on these catapults, and you're constantly flicking it, and so all of your goblins end up going into the box. Sometimes, if you're not fast enough, you get screwed out to where all your characters don't end up in the box. So it is crucial being fast. And the goal is to end up with the most kind of funds in the game. However, you get options to either you get a certain amount of money, I believe it is, or if you're able to stack your tower onto the game. I've yet to see anyone do that thus far, but it's a lot of fun. It's a quick dexterity game that has a little bit of strategy to it, which is relatively unique to this type of game. But I enjoy it a lot. It's very silly. It's not meant to be taken seriously, and I love the meeples. They look hilarious.
And it's great that this also has to do with the catapult, which I think is a running theme for you. If it has a catapult, it's go. I'm wondering if flying monkeys ranks high on your vintage list, since you have to flip those things too onto the tree.
Nah, I got it. It ain't. It's all right.
Oh, it's all right, he says. All right, so there you have it. Now, so far, we have had 0 crossover, correct? We haven't named the same game yet. So,
nope. Ooh, looks like we top 50 buddies.
Out of these top 50, oh yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So out of these top 50, we'll really start seeing what crossover, if any, we have. And folks, you'll have to come back next time to see what our top 50 games